Okay, so it's officially noon, October 1st, and I am launching. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Tatiana, and we're gonna dive right into this video. So I launched my first business on October 1st, which I am super happy about.
Alright, so it's official, we have launched our business. Here's the screen.
But it was definitely way more overwhelming than I was expecting it to be. I think I was stressed out just because I set a lot of really tight deadlines that made it pretty difficult and overwhelming, but that's okay because we got through it, and overall I would say it was a pretty positive experience. So a little bit of background information. When I launched, in the first 3 days, I made over 20 different orders, which resulted in about $700 worth of sales. I'm super happy with those figures. Not only that, but I also gained about 25 more Instagram followers, which, coming from like 70 followers, is a big improvement, and I'm just really excited to continue growing my Instagram channel. But with that being said, there are definitely some things that worked for me and some things that didn't, and that's what I want to cover in this video. So let's start with the things that did work for me. So the first thing that I think went really well for me was my product photography. I spent a lot of time in making sure that this looked clean, professional, and that it also fit with the theme of my website. And I think this just really helped instill trust, just made it look more professional. So that was something I spent a lot of time in, as well as making sure that the designs were visible and were an accurate representation of what people could expect to get once they bought from my store. The second thing that really helped me was making promotional material for the day of the launch. So of course you have to get the word out there. So shout out to Canva, who made it really quick and easy for me to create like very professional looking posts and Instagram stories for me to use. I'm really happy with how they turned out, and I think it also made other people more inclined to share this post and help me get the word out. So this organic growth was super helpful, and I have Canva to thank for that. Canva is free, and this is not sponsored by them, but I definitely recommend you checking it out if graphic design is not your forte. The third thing that I did leading up to the launch that I'm very happy about was having this sort of impromptu photo shoot session that I did with my sister. We each wore a different t-shirt design that would be available on my store, and we just kind of took photos, and then I posted those on my Instagram throughout the week to kind of build up hype, as well as show people what the t-shirt was going to look like, how it could be styled, and just kind of get them excited that this was a quality product. These two designs were also the same ones that I had been talking about for months and were the original inspiration behind this whole entire art store. So I'm not surprised that it ended up being my best sellers, but I am very happy that I went about this route. Another thing worth considering when you are launching your store is sharing your journey with your followers. I went ahead and used my Instagram to share with them the journey of making my logo, of receiving samples, making some of the designs, and I think this really helps make your followers feel included, like they were there from the beginning, and they feel like they are part of your journey, which is kind of helping create the sense of community. So I started that with my Instagram page, and I think that really helped as well with the conversions. Now, the more people you have following you, the more effective this is going to be, but even if you're starting out, I think this is probably a great way of just showing how transparent and raw you are in the process. And the last thing I did on the day of launch that was super helpful for me was to announce it on all my social medias. So I announced it on Facebook, I announced it on Instagram, and I announced it on LinkedIn as well. So to help me out in this, since I am one person doing everything, I pre-wrote the captions for all of these posts the night before, and I had it all in a Google Doc. So then on the day of the launch, all I had to do was just kind of write it out and then post it. It made it much easier and much quicker because I wanted to get the word out there as soon as possible, as soon as noon hit on October 1st. So that was a helpful hack for me. Of course, I know there are different apps you can use to actually schedule when your posts go out live, but I haven't gotten that far, so that's what I did, and it worked out. With that being said, however, it was definitely not all smooth sailing by any means. I mean, one thing that went wrong was I set up my Facebook page pretty late in the game. Didn't really know how to use Facebook that much, but I had to also set up like the Facebook Business Manager, and with that comes your ad account, and somehow I managed to get my account restricted, so that was a bit stressful. I mean, I wasn't trying to run any ads at the moment, so I guess it didn't really matter that much, but I think it just added to the stress, which was not something that I needed at the time. Eventually I ended up figuring it out, and all I needed was just to verify my identity, so I'm glad that got fixed, but it definitely took a couple days to figure that out. Another thing which was was definitely not convenient, was the fact that on the day of my launch, a couple of my items were actually already out of stock. And this is due to the fact that I was using a third party to actually fulfill these orders. So some of the color variants and sizes that I was using were actually not in stock at the time, so I couldn't even offer them on the day of launch, which kind of sucked. Not ideal, but I don't think it ended up hurting me too much, but like that's not really a way you want to start. So just make sure you check on the stock supply before you start and you have everything in order to avoid that. Another big thing for me was I did not have enough pictures of me wearing the shirts. So although I know I said that doing that photo shoot earlier on was super helpful, I definitely did not do enough of them. I should have done it with more shirts and posted about it earlier on. So because of this, I ended up getting a lot of questions about sizing on the day of launch, which is totally fine. I answered as many as I could, but I definitely understand where everyone was coming from. It's much easier to see the fit than to tell about the fit. So that's just something to consider. If you have the time, put in the effort to get those photos out ahead of time. The fourth thing that I could have improved on was starting my email list much sooner. So I started my email list basically as soon as I launched my store. But you know, having this whole social media account, doing YouTube and all that, I could have started it much earlier on. And many people will tell you that email lists will have the highest rates of conversion for you than many other methods. A key way to get people onto your email list is to offer them something in return. So with stores, you can offer them like 10% off, for instance, if they give you your email. But what a lot of other people can do if you don't have a store, for instance, if you're a YouTuber, then offer them, you know, like a PDF file of your top 5 tricks to editing photos or something like that, something that's free and exclusive if they give you their email address. So this is a great way to build your email list, and that way when you're ready to sell a product, you're going to have a much greater audience to appeal to. So this was one of my biggest downfalls, was I didn't start my social media accounts until like a couple days before the actual launch day, which is a big no-no. So my Facebook page, my Pinterest for Business page, all of that I started really late in the game. So when it was time to launch, I really didn't have much material on there. Same with my Instagram. I really should have given myself much more time to post a lot more pictures about the designs, about the t-shirts, just to build up hype, to get a bigger audience before I launch, and just to help spread the word more. The reason I did it on such a tight deadline and didn't wait till I had more stuff out there was because I did have some Halloween related t-shirts on there, and I still do, but I wanted to launch because at the time my third party was having some shipping delays, and so I wanted to make sure people would get it in time before Halloween, and that's why I rushed it and did it on October 1st. But had this not been the case, I definitely would have waited a bit longer to build that audience a bit more and to have a stronger connection with your audience. Basically, it all comes down to marketing, and that was my biggest downfall with all of this. So that's something I'd suggest you really look into, and you take not a week to promote it, but like take a whole month to promote it. The more you talk about it, the more people know about it, the more excitement you'll build, and the more successful you'll be. So moving forward, I really want to focus more on the marketing side of things. So you'll see me really pushing out more photos on Instagram, doing more reels, posting more on my Facebook page and all of that. And I also want to cater to all genders and do more designs related to that. So you'll see that coming soon as well. The other thing is winter is soon approaching, so I'll be having a lot more designs related to that season, and I will not rush it in the way that I did Halloween. If you're considering opening a business or you're in the process of launching, I figured these tips could help you, and I say go for it, because you never know if you're going to succeed unless you actually try. I think it really all comes down to having a positive attitude and knowing that you're in this for the long run. I mean, building a business takes years, and so knowing that this is all just part of the journey is what's important, and therefore no launch is actually a failure. It's all just an opportunity to grow. So that's how I'm viewing this, and that's kind of what I wanted to share with this video. I'm really happy with how everything went, and I'm really excited to continue pouring my energy into it and developing it even further. I also wanted to thank everyone who helped me in the process during launch, just by sharing it, by purchasing things from me. Just all the support that I received was really great, and I wanted to say that it does not go unnoticed, and I really appreciate it. So if you want to check out my shop, you can find it at tatianamarieart.com. If you're interested in learning more about my shop and seeing more videos related to it, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it, and as always, I can't wait to see you next time. Bye!